Alright, and welcome to another episode of Scarvig in the Atlas. Today I'm just going to do a quick rundown on how I do breeding. So, under my normal rules, I actually have the single player settings turned on. However, for the showcase of this, I'm going to have that turned off, because this affects the breeding and the maturing quite significantly. And if you have this set and you start mucking around with the numbers, it starts getting some very unpredictable results, and things just start imprinting immediately, and yeah, there's no timers, and it kind of gets a bit strange. But based on my experience from Ark, I'm going to work off some very similar numbers. So I have the laying egg interval, so this is your creatures just laying unfertilized eggs, and I've got that on a very, very low setting. Mating interval, so each time a creature has a baby, there's a time between when they can mate again, and I've set that to the lowest I possibly can. Now if you go lower than this, or you set it to 0, when you log out of the game and come back in, it will most likely reset to 1, whereas you can put it at 0.01 and it should not reset, so that works out good for me. And yeah, the time between, it's not much, I think it's like 1 minute between mating, so it's quite an acceptable amount. Egg hatch speed, so this is the gestation period, or once you've actually got an egg and you've put it down on the ground to hatch, it's how long it will take. So I set this to 50, and that's quite a reasonable speed. I don't mind it. Baby mature speed, so how fast they will actually go to an adult. And with that is a bit further down, it's the imprinting multiplier, which is called the baby cuddle interval multiplier. Now, these are the main ones that we're going to be looking at. So, 50 for the hatch speed. I have got a mature speed at the moment of 10, but that was based on my single player. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to bump this up to about 50. I need to quickly just grab my calc. 1 divided by 50. So when you're calculating your cuddle interval multiplier, you basically take 1 divided by your mature speed, and that will give you something that is close to the mark. Now it does differ per creature, so different types of animals will have different maturing and different imprinting, and so you need to be careful with these numbers, and you may need to fiddle with them a little bit just to try and get them to work. But for this example, I'm going to use 50 and 0.02, and I'm going to see if I can breed and imprint an elephant and a rhino, and we'll see where it goes from there. Alright, well, I'll jump into the game with these settings. Okay, here we are at my taming pens. I've set up, pre-set up an example of what's basically going to happen. I've got my elephants and my rhinos. We are in the low desert, currently at midday in the warmest part of the day. So here I am on F6. Basically this area is a desert region. The elephants and the rhinos both need temperatures that are 30 to 40 degrees, and the biomes get a little bit strange. I think the rhinos are very specific that they need to be, I should probably even look this up. I'll look that up in a sec, but yeah, the rhinos need to be mostly in the desert, whereas the elephants can kind of be in the tropics as well as the deserts. But anyway, let's get this going. See if we can get a baby of each. Yes, you're mating. Over in my base, which is over in the temperate zone, I can't do this. Not with rhinos and elephants, because they just will not accept the temperate zone. Anyway, mating is occurring. Let's have a look at the timer. So mating's happening quite comfortably. I mean, it's the normal timer. It doesn't change, it just is how fast that it is. Anyway, that's already 25% in, which is good. Okay, so the elephant is just about to finish mating. The main thing that we're looking for here is the gestation period. Now this is what will follow the egg timer. So it's 8 minutes on the elephant. Now that you've actually got that, we can disable your wandering. You just had yours as well. Your timer is about 7.5 minutes. Okay, so as you can see, I have I think it was set to 50. And that produces, given that these are meant to be some of the highest tier of creature in here, to have a 8-minute timer on the gestation is actually quite nice, really. You're not waiting for too much. You can wander off, you can go and prep a few things that you might need, or deal with some situations around your base, but in the meantime, yeah, you've got 10 minutes to wait. There we go. Oh, we got twins. Alright, come on down. Okay, we should have a look at this. Wants a cuddle straight away. That's a 10-second timer. Ooh. It's a cuddle. 10 seconds done. It was 13%. Wants a cuddle. Another 10 seconds. Okay, so these timers are working okay, but it's pretty fast. Anyway, let's quickly go over here. Get rid of that. And where's the baby elephant? There you are. Okay, so it wants a cuddle. Again, 11 seconds. Alright, so what we might now do is quickly jump out to the main menu and modify some of these timers. So, my mature speed I'm going to leave alone, but really these intervals are doing something a bit too strange for my liking. It was 0.2, so let's drop it to 0.1 and get it right up there and see how this affects things. Okay, so we're back in, and I fully expect that this now will be, yes, it's a huge number. Imprinting just went like crazy. Now let's have a look at the maturing speed. It's moving, but it's actually not that fast. Basically, what you can actually see from what I've done so far, and I can probably exacerbate it. Let's just jump back out again. Okay, let's change our mature speed back down to 10. 1 on 10 gives you your cuddle interval multiplier of 0.1, and we jump back in. Okay, let's have a quick look at this one. Alright, you want to go for a walk. It has currently got 25% imprint, maturing speed. Looks like it has slowed down quite considerably. Where's the elephant? How about you? You were moving at a reasonable rate before. Have you slowed down? Yes, yes they have. Okay. But what I'm hoping to showcase here is the Rhino should get about a 13% imprint. There it is. Okay, so there you can basically see, okay, the maturing is going up. It's not as fast, but it is certainly still going up. Wants care in now 4 minutes 30. Okay, so unlike before where it was doing every 10 seconds, mainly because the maturing speed was so fast, now working off a maturing speed of 10. You can see the maturation just went up just by a small tick just now. But you need that inverse relationship. So whatever your maturing speed is, 1 divided by your maturing speed will give you your interval that you're going to be working with to give you your imprinting. At very high speeds, it seems to break pretty badly. But it gives you the desired number. Each interval, so each imprint, will give you 13%. It's probably more like 12.5, but yeah. But that's all I can really say for that. And those are the numbers that I've been working on in my ARC series, and it seems to translate somewhat well over to here. And as you can see, the maturation, it does take quite some time, and I couldn't tell you exactly how long that's going to take. It is going up at an okay amount. You probably end up spending a couple of hours raising a rhino, and then in terms of care, every 4.5 minutes you're going to want to give it an imprint. Given that an imprint is simply a cuddle or a walk, it's not really that onerous. But yeah, it might be interesting to see if we can change some of the numbers. See if we can get something that's a little bit nicer, advanced. So let's go with a mature speed. If I double it, will it bring it down to 2? So 25. Why can't I have 25? Okay. 1 divided by 20. Okay. So that would double what I already have. Something to note, between videos and logging in and out, my creatures just died. The mating interval, even with as fast as I actually have it, for the elephant, it's about 10 minutes between mating. It's still quite high, which I'm a little bit surprised by that. Even with a 0.01. Geez, the rhino's even worse, 20-minute timer. Yeah, so could possibly afford to even bump up the interval even higher. Oh, it's lower. That one's 0.01. Okay, no, that one's actually, you can't drop that one lower. It could just be if you're doing some dedicated breeding, you might need to temporarily set it to 0. I don't know if on an actual server config, if you plug in a lower value, maybe it will persist. I don't know. I play single player, so it definitely resets for that when you play ARC at the very least. Anyway, I'm going to have to wait this out. Okay, so this is now, what was it? It was 20 on the, oh, it's cold, is it? Oh, it is. Let's just quickly fix that for the video. Nice and hot for you. Yeah, so this was 20 instead of 10 on the speed. And an imprint to suit. What I would hope to see is that once this timer comes up, we will again see the 13% imprint, and from there, wondering, I mean, maturation's only at 0.4. The maturation speed is actually very slow. But it is an elephant. Okay, here we go. Moment of truth. %, and it was 1 minute 11, and you know, maturation is at 7%. So you're going to need 100 times that. You're looking at 2 hours to grow an elephant to full with those maturation timers. Yeah, that's still quite a long time, 2 hours. Obviously on a server where you might have multiple people looking after it, that's probably not too bad. But then if you need to be able to make it go faster, then really you're going to have to bump up those numbers even more. But as you can see that the care interval is it's dropping like crazy. I mean, it went from 4.5 down to 1 minute 10. And so the relationship between the numbers is just, it is a little bit weird. Anyway, you'll wait for one more. There we go. And yeah, it's relatively simple, I guess. But the main thing is that those numbers they're not what I would have expected in terms of how they work. But they do, and you know, you're guaranteed to get a fully imprinted creature. There's no way you won't. And obviously you can boost those numbers even further. You can go that 50 maturation speed that I had before, and they do grow up at a reasonable rate of knots. I mean, it's not great, but it does work. Yeah, I guess the last thing to show is single player. We go back and put my single player mode back on. In terms of the numbers, I'm just going to pop that back down to 10. Then the interval is just going to be 1. Tempted to leave the baby maturation speed at 1 as well. I want to see what the default is. We are back. Graphics are loading in. But have a look at this maturation speed now. 0.8. 0.9. It's a bit faster. Wants care. Cuddle. Oh, we get 75. It actually just imprinted at 100%. So when you're working with the single player settings, as you can see, it's maturing. And this is the default setting, right? So this is maturation speed of 1 and an imprint multiplier of 1. And you get 100% imprint off your first go. And the maturation is significantly faster. And so this is what the single player settings are actually doing for the players. That's still going to take quite some time, mind you. You know, I wouldn't doubt that you'd be waiting an hour. It's still a lot faster though. Wandering's off. Alright, well. That's basically it. We've basically looked at a bit of how the imprinting and how the breeding works. And this is all based on something that someone posted. They were actually having trouble with breeding elephants, rhinos, and of all things it was wolves. So with the elephant and its breeding, the elephant wants the tropics, specifically the western tropics, the equatorial, the desert, high desert and the low desert. And it wants the temperatures between 27 and 45. Alright, and so that's why this region works so well. Where are we? Let's have a look at the rhino next. The rhino. Okay, so the rhinos want the high and low desert, the western tropics, and wants temperatures between 25 and 43. So very similar to this. And so it just expects that that's what is going to happen. Last but not least, the wolf, which they was having trouble with, is one that shouldn't actually have troubles at all. Okay, because with breeding wolves, they are actually breedable in every biome. So it's basically, you can do it in the tropics, temperate, tundra, equatorial, polar, and both high and low desert. It quite literally should be able to be bred in every single region. It does need between 16 and 34 in terms of temperature. So it doesn't like low temperatures, but can tolerate just about anything in between by the looks of it. So the walls should be the easiest one to do. Alright, well, get rid of that. Get rid of that. Face the sun. Well, not the sun. So yeah, that is my video on breeding some of the higher level creatures, how some of the timers work, and yeah, what the difference between running a server and single player is like. Obviously, there is some complicated mathematics going behind there, and always remember that even if you set up one set of timers that works beautifully with one creature, it won't necessarily work well with the next, because each creature has its own timers. Alright, I'm going to go and kill whatever's attacking me, although my lion might be. And yeah, I will see you next time on Scavenging in the Atlas. Catch you later.